I'm one of your Chief Justices for this year. I would like to welcome you to the forum as highlighting the candidates for the ASB positions for the 2011-2012 school year. Please give your attention as the candidates give information about their platform.
Hi, my name is Skylar Shibayama, and I'm running for your ASB president. The reason I'm running for the position is simple. I care a lot about the students of Shorecrest. I know I would do a great job for the position because I have both the correct mindset and experience for the position. As president, I'll make sure to put all students first. That means finding out what you want and putting it into action. Experience-wise, I've learned a lot about leadership roles at Shorecrest, from club president to sports captain. From positions like site council member and link crew leader, I've learned a lot about what it takes to be a great leader. Overall, being secretary for this last year has taught me a lot about the role of ASB president and how to be a great one. I'm really excited for the 2011-2012 school year, and I can't wait to serve Shorecrest. Thank you.
Good day, Shorecrest. My name is Olurotimi Ayola Balandro, and I want to become your next ASB president. I believe that I am qualified for 3 primary reasons: my student leadership experience as a class senator, my administrative experience as the 2-year secretary of Shorecrest Math Club, and most importantly, my desire to serve my fellow students. If elected as your next ASB president, I plan on following the Three Musketeers' renowned slogan, all for one and one for all. In this sense, I need your support to become the next ASB president, but in return, I'll make sure to support you in any way I can. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alex Messer, and I'm running for VP next year. Some reasons I want to do it is I think Shorecrest could be a much more peaceful and nice place for everybody, and that I want to make Shorecrest beautiful next year during this construction. I would like to make a bathroom painted, make it pretty, make it nice, so even though we're in portables and it's not necessarily nice for everybody, it can be a little bit more sunshiny and happy. Thank you.
I'm Parker Pepin, and I am your current ASB treasurer. This year, I'm running for the position of treasurer again, so I will hopefully be your treasurer next year too. I have been in ASB in the past 2 years. I was a senator my sophomore year and treasurer this last year. And I think that if I have the opportunity to be treasurer again next year, I can use what I've learned this year and make it an even greater experience and help out the school even more. Thank you.
Hello, beautiful people of Shorecrest. I'm Sage Alexander, and I'm running for your ASB secretary. You may know me. I have been involved in clubs around the school, including Key Club, more recently, Animal Rights Club, and International Club. I've held small leadership positions in school, such as class representative in my sophomore and junior year. So I'm very excited to become your new secretary. Thank you.
Why are you running for ASB president?
I'm running for ASB president because I believe that in this position, it will be a lot easier to help foster change within the school. As you very well know, the school is getting some physical changes with the general structure of it, and I feel that why not use this as an opportunity to not only change the physical means of the school, but as well as the mental means of the students. So in this sense, I don't plan on just having one group of students feel improvement, but instead increase the general atmosphere of the school so that incoming students in the future years will not only think, wow, this is a great school, but they'll think of both in the exterior and interior.
Thank you. Skylar?
I guess the reason I'm running for Shorecrest ASB president is because I really want to empower students more and give them more of a voice. Because I really do care a lot about the school, I care also a lot about the students' voice here, and so one of my main goals is to put whatever students want to happen in the school, to get that into action, to hit the ground running, and from day one really begin gathering the voice of the students and applying it to the long-term events that happen at Shorecrest.
Okay. And Skylar, please describe your qualifications for this position.
Well, I've had a lot of leadership experience here at Shorecrest. I think the number one most important thing for me as ASB president this year is my experience as ASB secretary for this last school year. I've learned a lot about what it takes to be a great ASB core. I've learned a lot from a great ASB president in Data Leathers, and I hope to follow his footsteps in the long line of great presidents that we've had. Because I know exactly what the job takes. I know I have the qualifications. I'm responsible, I'm hardworking, and I care a lot about the students of Shorecrest.
Thank you. Rotimi?
My qualifications are essentially as follows. I've been a class senator this previous year, so I've gained student leadership that is vital to the position of ASB president. The last 2 years at Shorecrest, I have been the secretary of Shorecrest Math Club, so I have administrative experience. And also, the most important experience, I believe, is that I know, not only do I know what to do in a position of power, I know what not to do. Many times I've come short of my expectations, and I've learned from these. So I believe that as your ASB president, not only will I be able to guide you on the right path, I'll be able to prevent you guys from falling away onto the wrong path so that we can have a glorious school year.
Thank you. Can you give us some examples of how you will use your position to improve Shorecrest, and please be specific?
Okay. Well, as you all know, this year the TAP intervention pilot was implemented to improve the grades of our fellow students. Many of you have voiced concerns and primarily comments. Many of you have voiced concerns and questions about it, such as the reasoning behind holding all the students within the building. I believe that the system itself is very effective, but can be even more effective. Next year, I plan on working with administrators on thinking of ways to improve the system so that not only do we help our students that are not meeting the marks as they should be, not only to help them improve their grades, but for those students that have their grades as they should be, finding ways to allow them more freedom so that they don't feel constrained to the school.
Thank you. Skylar?
Well, I have three main items where I see areas for change at Shorecrest. First of all is next year is, of course, our 50th anniversary here at Shorecrest and the transition to a new building. So I think that right now, actually, I'm currently working on planning some events and activities for the school regarding that. Specifically, I think it would be great to have a Shorecrest time capsule marking the 50th anniversary where we put in current artifacts and some history of Shorecrest that could basically immortalize the 2011-2012 school year for years to come. Also, I think we need a higher club involvement in the activities around Shorecrest, and I think it'd be great to get all student groups involved in ways like that. Lastly, I think we should have more school-wide events fostering more spirit at Shorecrest, maybe scavenger hunts and more dress-up days. I think we can get Shorecrest more involved in a more unified school.
Thank you to our ASB presidential candidates. Why are you running for this position, and please describe your qualifications?
My qualifications to run for VP was I was a 2012 senator last year. I've been a leader on my soccer team for many years, since I was about 11. And I just have a strong background in leadership. I like to be in front of people. I like to lead. Describe why I'm running is I just want to lead. I'd love to do that.
And can you give us examples of how you would use your position to improve Shorecrest, and please be specific?
Some of my goals for next year would be to create a forum where people could talk about social issues among Shorecrest students so we can have a bigger understanding and better knowledge among students. I'd also like to do a Club of a Month assembly where you would have a club put on an assembly where they could showcase what they do, what they're about, and just as a short little assembly to get knowledge out to the students about clubs. And I would like to paint one of the bathrooms through like a design contest, one of the permanent ones, so then Shorecrest can be a little bit nicer during this year of construction, and just make Shorecrest nice looking.
Thank you, Alex. Why are you running for this position, and please describe your qualifications?
I'm running for the position of treasurer because this year being treasurer was a great experience, and I feel like if I got to do it again next year, I could learn even more. And working with Miss Denny has just been a great experience, and I feel like that there's so much more to learn, and it'll be great. And last year, I was a sophomore senator for my class, and like I said, this year I was treasurer. And I've also been involved in multiple clubs, such as NHS, and I've been with the ambassador program. And I was also a Link Crew leader this year.
Thank you. Can you give us some examples of how you will use your position to improve Shorecrest, and please be specific?
All right, so I would first of all like to take on more responsibility as a treasurer. This year I was doing a lot working with our core and Miss Denny, but I think next year I could take on even more responsibility and make a bigger impact. And another thing I'd like to do is meet with club leaders more often and work out fundraisers and maybe find more of a reason to be doing fundraising. And I think if I can meet with the club leaders more often, then they can get more done. We can have a more effective year ahead of us.
Thank you, Parker.
Thank you.
Why are you running for this position, and please describe your qualifications?
I'm running for secretary because I work well with all the other candidates running. I feel like that's very important for a smooth running ASB. Also, I have experience in some leadership, including class representative, which meets with the ASB regularly. I just love the idea of public service. I have a great desire to use my gifts of hard work and communication and leadership as well to benefit those around me.
Thank you. Can you give us some examples of how you will use your position to improve Shorecrest, and please be specific?
I actually have a lot of amazing ideas for next year that I'm really excited to implement or talk to the ASB with. One thing I noticed is that a lot of kids don't know what's going on around school. It takes a lot to keep up with that sometimes. So I was thinking of doing like a student board as a calendar for everybody. They could talk to the ASB and then we could write anything they wanted on there, including maybe senior projects or events, fundraisers, things like that. Another thing was, as a student, I noticed that club database would be a really good idea, maybe online or in print form, because a lot of the clubs I don't really know about sometimes. Like, for example, Rake, when I was last year, I think it was, now I know, but at the time I didn't know what it was, and so I thought it would be a really good idea to get students involved to explain what kind of clubs they had. Another thing would be a suggestion program for students. If implemented correctly, could be very vital to the ASB.
Thank you, Sage.